I've been getting this all wrong. I've been selling used cars for the last 7 years, from my house, off my drive, out of a unit, and now into a showroom, and I'm making nothing. Whereas since I started buying and selling cheap Range Rovers, I'm making the same money. I've got no overheads, no staff, no AutoTrader. It's just easy, no warranties, because what we've started doing is a bit of trade-to-trade stuff. Now, I know a few guys that do this, and literally all they do is sit on platforms like AutoTrader and all the other ones online and buy cars off the general public and then sell them into trade. And I'd never really thought about it as a concept until we started doing a few recently through Carmora with my mate Paul, who's now a business partner, how these things develop. And so, for example, today I'm driving a Range Rover Sport, a car I would never, ever over my dead body normally buy. And we bought it from a customer who we bought the SVR off, who was one of his mates, and we're going to flip it into trade. We've given him a good money for the car. Dealer's going to end up with a nice car, and I've made a little bit of money. Anyway, we'll hop in it, go for a drive. I'm going to explain exactly where my head's at with this because I've had an epiphany. I love a Range Rover, but I'd never bloody own one. But technically I kind of do, but only briefly. I'm going to talk you through why I think this is working, and genuinely why I think it might be the solution to all of my many problems. So if you'd seen a recent video that I put out, it was talking about my dealership and how much money it had made, or not made, over the last 12 months. In fact, actually we looked at the last 7 years to work out what I'd actually been paying myself, and it worked out, spoiler alert, less than minimum wage. If you've not seen that video, you might want to check it out, especially if you want to be a car dealer. Reality check incoming for you on that one. However, since we started doing the Carmora stuff, we've bought and sold quite a few cars. It's going fairly well, and we're not really pushing it that hard, although we're now thinking of reinvesting our money back into sort of Google advertising, etc., just to sort of get ourselves out there so people know who we are. So for example, over the last month, if you look at what the car trading business has done versus what the car dealership has done, and look at the profit that I've taken from, or could take from, the car trading site versus what I get paid as an income from car dealership, it is literally exactly the same. But the amount of money I've got invested in the car dealership is absolutely absurd. So I've put my life savings into that place over the last 7 years. And the problem is that you need a lot of capital in a car dealership because you're buying a load of stuff and then you're sitting on it for a while. Whereas with Carmora, we're buying cars, and if they are in stock for more than 24 to 48 hours, I'd be surprised. So you're turning your capital a lot faster. Now, the other benefit as well is the cars that I'm getting offered that I'm not able to stock because I'm fully stocked. So for example, the car sales side at the moment is dead. We've had a really quiet month, so I've not been able to buy all the cars I'd normally buy, but I can still sell them through the trade sites. So for example, we bought this beautiful F-Type off a subscriber called Leighton recently, and what an absolutely glorious car this is. Now, unfortunately, I'd have retailed this car all day long, bread and butter for me, but had I not had the trade arm, I'd have just had to say to him, I'm sorry mate, I'm fully stocked at the moment, literally not got any room to put the bloody thing in, let alone the money to buy it. So it's all starting to add up. I think I might be onto something here. Now, I certainly don't think Tim needs to worry about his job, because if we do end up doing the trade-to-trade more frequently, there's going to be plenty of work for him here. And Alex, there'll be plenty of stuff for you to film. I'm sure we'll cock it up from time to time. But am I missing a trick here? Yes, you've got to be busier, and yes, you've got to move more metal because the profit margins are absolutely nowhere near what they are when you retail them. But if you're being quick and efficient and fast, you need less capital, you turn them over faster, there's no warranties, no headaches, experiencing lots of different cars, and making, it would appear, the same bloody money. Have I been asleep at the wheel? So let's talk about this Range Rover Sport that I've bought. This car is a 2018 car. It has done 30,000 miles. I believe it's got 2 owners from memory. And we bought it from a guy, I don't know if you remember, we bought a Range Rover Sport SVR, and it was one of his mates. Now, I put a bid in on this car around about 3 weeks ago, and truthfully, he wasn't happy with the bid, which is fair enough. I thought I'd offered the right money for it. I thought he was going to accept it. It was more than certain online buying platforms that would buy, for example, any car. And I thought that might do the deal. Anyway, he went quiet, went to ground for 3 weeks, and then he's come back and said, you know what it is, Rob, I'll accept that offer, which is great news. So now I've stood on the bid, which I know is probably a little bit stupid. I won't get as much money out of it at the other end now because the book prices move on these cars, but we're doing it just to try and build as much credibility as a business as possible. A lot of these places will stand on the bid for a few days at best. Now, I suspect what's happened here is he's gone to the rest of the market in the 3 weeks, tried to get as better price as he can do for the car, not managed to do it, come back to me hoping that we can stay on the bid, and we have done. We've bought the car. Now, retail on this, if you can wrap your head around this, is around about 30 grand. for a 2018 Range Rover with that sort of mileage on, it's absolute madness. Now I'm going to flip it into trade with Paul. We'll make a bit of money on it. It's not going to be huge amounts, but from our point of view, it's just easy business. The guy who's going to buy the car from us is going to know that it's been checked out by Paul and I. They know that there are sort of people who know what we're looking at with cars, so it's been plugged in properly. We'll have a proper walk around, I'll show you in a second. So they're going to buy a car that they know's right, they're not buying it out of an auction. The guy that we bought the car off has clearly ended up with more money from us than he has done from anybody else. It's just the perfect storm. And I'm wondering whether or not I've just been a little bit of an idiot for the last 7 years, and whether or not I should be really starting to push this, spend a load of money with Google, and just see whether or not we can start to build this like personal buying service. And I think that's the key to it, is that it is personal. So you've got these big players out there that are not personable, let's be frank, and all working on trying to make as much money out of the deal as possible. Whereas I think we've just hit a bit of a sweet spot. Anyway, let's park up. I'm going to show you around my new purchase. So, 2018, 30,000 miles, spec a little bit limited. I'm not trying to sell it, by the way, because I've already sold it, but it is in this lovely pearl white, which for me personally, I would never own, but potentially if you lived in Chelsea and had young children, I might. Other than that, wheels are good, interior's bloody lovely on it, just a really nice place to be. I can't believe these are less than 30 grand now retail. It's absolutely nuts. Has got a pan roof, isn't tilt and slide. But look at it, just nice thing. Spotted we've got a little dent there, which has been touched in. Not the end of the world, bit of PDR. Now that's the sort of thing that certain other companies, mentioning no names, we Benica, would kick you in the balls for. We didn't. Mainly because I've just spotted it now. However, what's it saying on the old score of vehicles? So Alex, you're welcome to have a guess as to what it scores on vehicle score, and if you can get it within 5, I'll get the rounding Friday.
Okay. 858.
Ooh, scores well. It's shown as untaxed because I've literally just put it into trade now. Other than that, everything fine. It's a free check to do, and you can get a full history evaluation if you want to do on there anyway, which we have done, and the car is absolutely on the button. Other thing I noticed as well is it's always quite nice to see stuff like this and National Trust stickers. Always an indication of, you know the owner. We know the owner. And it smells of dogs in there, and I suspect Yorkshire Terrier. It's just nice, isn't it? It's got Meridian. So the benefit of me doing trade-to-trade stuff is I can now go home in my white Range Rover Sport, and the neighbours all think I'm a bit of something. They think I'm a bit of something anyway, but not something I want to repeat. All right, let's get back in it and get back to the office, work out what we're doing. Let me explain a little bit more. So this is obviously the car dealership, and there are problems afoot everywhere. So for example, this thing came on part exchange. I was stuffed into it by a customer. It's needed a clutch, a flywheel, the head had to come off, had all the valves cleaned, timing belt, all sorts of bits. So that car's cost me thousands to get it right. I never would have had that problem if I wasn't selling to the public, because I wouldn't have had it stuffed into me. This is a Tesla. Boring. That Porsche Macan, we've had him for, I want to say, a month, not sold it yet. And I mean, there are cars here, there is probably 400 or 500 grand sat here just doing nothing. Whereas if I had that in the trade business, I could have turned that over 2-3 times by now. See how it's sort of starting to make sense? Here's another example. So we bought this from a subscriber. Lovely car, to be fair. However, hey mate. So the whole thing's needed polishing. Also all needs touching in and stuff. All the wheels have needed doing. They were beyond re-diamond cutting, so we've had to totally redo them in a different colour. Door edges need touching in. Just like little bits and bats that takes time and effort. I mean, Tim's been on this for
a day.
Got to be a day on it, hasn't there?
Yeah.
So you kind of add all of this up and you're going, well, you've got a full day of Tim on here where he could have just gone and picked up a car, brought it back, flipped it into trade. See how it's starting to sort of make a bit of sense? So that's the dilemma I've got at the moment, because I'm just trying to think outside of the box of, if I can cut the costs right down in here and just start to flip cheap cars into trade at a few £100 a car or whatever, it just makes more sense. All the cars that I've sold into trade, they're all done and dusted. No warranty, no prep, no advertising costs, just easy, simple business. And it's just making me think I might have been getting it wrong all this time. So, what's your thoughts? Do I get rid of all of this expensive nonsense and just focus on bread and butter and flipping it and making some money? Or do I continue to chase this dream of being a supercar dealer? which might happen one day. We've got a McLaren up there, actually, but I'm going to have to warranty it. What makes more sense? Anyway, if you've got a cheap Range Rover you'd like me to buy and throw straight into trade, obviously let me know. Any cars you've got, let me know, because we really want to start pushing this. And I do think I've had a bit of an epiphany here. I shall see you on the next one. Cheers.